You're awake. Did you feel it too? It was like the archdemons saw us. Saw us! What does that mean? I think... Wait. Did you hear that?
These are vile and tainted. I will not falter! I hope I don't get blood all over me. As you say.
I guess it's like Duncan once said.
Mostly.
We can sense them, and they can sense us. We'd best be more careful from now on. This camp isn't safe any longer.
What will they send next? Darkspawn tax collectors?
Fortification should be built around the camp.
How unnerving.
It will be more difficult to sleep here now.
What, no trap? No ambush? Huh. Some assassins. It is a job. That is a bomb. As you say.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
What say you? By all means. I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book. Is it? It seemed normal enough a tale growing up. No different than the other elven boys in the whorehouse. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear. That's very kind of you to say, but it is not necessary. It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all. My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again. I don't feel anything about them. Oh, we heard about them in the city, even deep in Antiva. I even had the notion once to run off and join them. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on. Gloves? You're giving me gloves? What for? Maker's breath. You're right. It is like my mother's. The leather was less thick and it had more embroidery, but these are very close and quite handsome. Do I seem surprised? Perhaps I am. Still, I appreciate the fact that you even thought of me. No one has simply given me a gift before. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, you led me to an errand. You persisted, even though I was sure all you were going to find was a dead end. I will never be able to repay you for what you've done for me. Finding an errand allowed me to bring that chapter of my life to a close. I feel free. A great weight has been lifted off my heart. This moment, it feels like the moment before the sunrise, when all the world is still, holding its breath, waiting for first light. I can stop thinking about my past and look forward to the future. Thank you, my friend. You will always have my gratitude.
Are you sure I can't interest you in this hat? It seems that Tyrn Loghain has responded to the ambush on his men near Iowa. Group of his best, hunted down the ones who did it. All of them hunters out of Oswin, Ban Valdric's men. I hear Tyrn Loghain ordered them all strung up on poles. Then they were left up there to starve, pleading for mercy. I hope that isn't true. That's a grim thing to do to someone. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. There's outrage over what Tyrn Loghain did to the hunters out of Oswin, letting a man starve, helpless. I think Tyrn Loghain meant that to be a lesson, to make everyone think twice about continuing this fight. It's going to do exactly the opposite, you ask me. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. More trouble in the land, it seems. As panic begins to rise from the dark spawn's approach, there's more and more word of riots. Gwarin, Denerim, Highever. There's trouble everywhere. There are people already fleeing north for the free marches. They say that Ferelden's all but lost. You think that's true? That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. I've heard some strange word out of the Brazilian forest that Dalish elves are being called together to form some kind of army. And it's to help us, not attack us. Doesn't that beat all? When I heard that, I thought for sure we were done for. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. It seems a group of Loghain's men were ambushed yesterday near Highever. I don't know who did it, but the men were hit while they were camping for the night. A whole lot of them taken by surprise. Their tents were set on fire with arrows, and I hear 24 died. Nasty business. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Heard from a dwarf the other day that smoke was rising over Oswin. Revolt, he says. Tyrn Loghain is trying to put it down as we speak, but I understand it's not going well. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. The blight sickness brought by the Darkspawn is spreading faster than anyone thought. Several sources say that it's even here in Denerim. From what I hear, there's an outbreak in the elven alienage in the city. Others tell me that's not true. Still, it's a frightening thought. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I don't know what to tell you. Nothing I can think of at the moment.
I was just thinking about what happened to the elves, and I'm reminded of a song sung to me many years ago. It was when my mother died, and this wise elven woman comforted me and told me that we shouldn't fear death or hate it. Death is just another beginning. One day, we must all shed our earthly bodies to allow our spirits to fly free. It's a beautiful sentiment, I think. One that brings peace and hope to the grieving. Well, aren't you sweet and attentive? Of course. Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Which one? It will come to you soon, I'm sure.
You witnessed the rarest of things, Warden. The Dalish stand ready to defend Ferelden. We have assembled on a short schedule. Certain factors of equipment could be better. Crafting components would serve best. Basic ones like elf root and deep mushroom. Generous as always, Warden.